Hey, it's Cody. I'm here to talk about the decks and books that I'm going to be working with throughout the month of April. For some reason, I kind of have quite a few things actually to show you this time. Some months just work out like that. So I'm going to try not to talk too long about each thing, but I can't make any promises. Alright, so I'm going to start with books. This is Cardamancy in Folk Witchcraft by Roger Horn. Now, I actually started this book last month. I'm going through this book over a 4-month period with Cosmic Creepers Patreon. It's a book club. I did not grab the decks that I am using with this, but oh well. What else do I have here? Oh, I am in 2 book clubs actually right now. I am also in the Black in the Moon Patreon, and she is also doing a book club there, going through the Book of Ancestors by Claire Goodchild. It's actually being run by the author herself, so this one's pretty cool. Okay, Alright, well, I said I wasn't going to talk too long about stuff, but actually I'm going to talk about this one. I DNF this motherfucker. This book is, what, 300 something pages? What do we got going on here? 305. I made it to... Whoop, I must have taken my bookmark out. 216 or some bullshit like that. Here's the thing. I have a lot of critiques, I think, about this book. But I think really the last straw... Okay, well, actually, no. I'll mention a couple of them quickly. This shit's boring, okay? It is... very much of this just reads like Puritans and like, I don't know, this fucking girl boss lady that's fucking... And while it talks a lot about Slewfoot, we actually, like, see this little devilly dude not that often. The entire book, up to fucking 216 or whatever page I got to, is like, you never learn who he is, but he's trying to find out who he is. Like, that is too fucking long, alright? The whole thing just fucking drags. A bunch of drama with, like, fucking Puritan church ladies and shit. Like, it's just not my thing. Even historical inaccuracies aside and shit, okay, I can put that shit away for, like, a fantasy or a horror. This is supposed to be a horror book. No. Okay, but here's really the thing that made me finally stop reading this. There was a part where, okay, this dude they're calling Father, that may or may not be, like, Satan. I don't fucking know. And also, I don't care. They're talking about the indigenous people in the area. And there's, like, this other monster thing that Father is scared of, or some shit, trapped him in a mask or something, but here's the thing I'm sick to death of seeing and running into in fucking books and movies and every other fucking thing, is, like, the natives, like, spiritual leaders always being, like, something else, like, oh, they've tricked the natives into thinking that they're, you know, a medicine man, but instead they're fucking a demon, or, like, you know what I mean? Man, that was, aside from even some other kind of fucked up depictions of the fucking indigenous population throughout this book. Like, this book was just fucking written, okay? We're not historically accurate enough. 2021. For the racist shit, but I am so goddamn sick of seeing, oh, the native people were fucking tricked by this demon and they think that he's, like, magic or some shit. Like, that shit makes me fucking sick. So yeah, I did go ahead and DNF this. So, and you know what? Here's the worst thing I think about this to me is actually there's nobody talking about that. Everyone's like, oh my god, I love this book. It's got fucking 4,000 5-star reviews on fucking Goodreads. Like, man, what are people even reviewing? Who is reviewing these? I don't even know, man. What does the author of this fucking book look like? That's what. Of course. Okay. So that was that. I DNF Slewfoot. It sucked. Alright. Okay, so here's a book that I did finish. This is Folkloric American Witchcraft and the Multicultural Experience, A Crucible at the Crossroads. This is by, I believe it's Via Hedera. Now, I had not heard of this book until a friend sent it to me, and I think I I probably read it in like 2 days. It's really not that long. It's very well researched, and ultimately what it's talking about. Okay, where is like, okay, like all of this is the like notes and sources and shit. It's basically talking about like the different places that in America, what we see as witchcraft and how it sort of came from so many cultures that came here, for better or for worse, how the ideas of witchcraft have sort of manifested within the country. It doesn't specifically mention Canada, but I mean, same shit. Sorry. So it was interesting just kind of talking about like common threads and shit among different people's beliefs. This book also, as some of you may have gotten some bizarre messages. I don't know what the word witch means anymore. Like, does it even fucking mean anything? Don't get me fucking started, okay? But like, people's view, like, what is the common thread? I'm starting. What is the common thread between like witches? What is it? Because no one seems to have like there's not a commonality. There's not like a core that's the same. I mean, this book kind of talks about it being like pacts with spirits, but there are definitely people who would call themselves witches that I don't think would do that. I don't know, man. I'm fucked up. Maybe the word witch doesn't even mean anything. Okay. All right. I recommend that book. It was a very interesting read. All right, so books that I'm going to be reading. Well, okay, I did start this one some, but then I paused it so that I could finish that that last one I just showed you. This is The Hidden Messages in Water by, I believe it's Masaru Emoto. Now, I should have grabbed it. I have a deck that I found at like Goodwill, which is like a secondhand store here in the US. And this is the book of the study of like how frozen water molecules like react to different like energies around them and shit. Like I'm scared, you guys. I hate water, but I feel like this might be fucking life-changing. I don't know. All right, so my fiction pick. All right. Well, okay, I'll just show it to you. Oh, I have showed you this before and then didn't end up reading it. This is Warrior of the Wind. Now, this is the second book in, what's it called? The Nameless Republic. Now, I read the first one of these, I believe it's called Son of the Storm. It was really solid. I enjoyed it. Just a lot of things that I look for in, like, a fantasy book were just there. Like, I'm really excited to see, really where this has gone with this. The reason this hasn't gotten read yet is just because in that big, I don't know if anyone has seen sitting on my fucking channel, there's this huge 3-hour live stream that I did with Claire from Black in the Moon, and we basically were talking about how we have decided to redo our like, do you remember when people used to do the year in a day study before like initiating themselves into witchcraft? Maybe this was like a 90s thing probably, and I think it came from Wicca pretty specifically, but I do really like that, and we had kind of decided to go back and redo almost our year in a day. So, you know, doing studies and really just digging into things that had sort of just become like habit. So my fiction reading dropped off because I have been rereading old witchcrafty books that I have, or even just reading some newer ones. I don't know, man. I think of it as like amending the soil, right? Like your practice is growing up out of something. You got to be feeding it something, or, you know, I don't know. Does that even make any sense? Okay, so I'm not making any promises that this book is going to get read, just because I don't know what's going to happen, okay? Sometimes just things happen. Okay, we're to decks. Now, I just had mentioned the year in a day, almost like practice, reset, sort of. This is one of my first like tarot bags that I crocheted, and this is I wouldn't do it this way again. Okay, so in a similar vein, I pulled out some of my older decks. Now this is the Aquarian Tarot. I have not used this thing in fucking ages. Like, honestly, even at the time that I used it, I feel like I didn't really like it. But it's one of those things I've always looked back on with, like, fond memories, sort of like, remember when I fucking used this deck all the time? This is I don't even know what year this deck came out. US Games 1970? Is that real? Okay, I mean, I wasn't born then. Like, I didn't have it then, but... I mean, I've just pulled this out. I can't really, like, reset shit like a tarot practice so much. You know what I mean? I kind of... You can go back to basics some, though. And for me, this really was sort of a foundational, a building block for my tarot practice. So yeah, I have pulled this back out. And I really don't know how much play it's going to get. But I have been looking through it the last couple days. All of a sudden I just thought of it and I was like, you know, I should get that out. So we shall see on this one. God, sorry. I feel bad for doing this and then also extra bad for apologizing every time. But if I don't put these away now, I'm just going to have a huge fucking mess. All right. Similarly, all right, this is the Dragon Path Oracle cards. Now, this is not an old deck that I used to have, like, as a child or anything, or a teenager. In fact, let's see, what year does this even say on it? Let's see if we can... Yeah, 2020. But if I were like 12 or 13 right now, I would 100% pick this deck. I was a dragon kid. Now, I don't think... I have another fucking video talking about looking for the perfect dragon deck that I made kind of a long time ago. Like, maybe even a year ago by now. But, like, this is probably the closest, like, artwork-wise. I will be completely fucking honest. I don't like the guidebook. I don't really like the, like, some of them are just weird. Like, Magic and Manifestation makes sense. Father Time, I guess. Transformation. Okay, where's some of the fucking weird ones? Alright, Asclepius. Now, if we know that Asclepius is a Greek, I believe, god of, what, healing or something, then that's fine. But there's just a couple of these, like, platinum? What? Mordwin? But, like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. The guidebook is really cringy to me. I understand that people work with dragon-like energy, and I don't mean to, like, be shitty to anyone that feels like that, but I just cannot get behind, like, dragons are real. Like, not in this context, okay? There are, I hate this card. There are, without a doubt, cultures that have, you know, historically had dragons as, like, part of their belief systems, but, like, it was not this shit, okay? So, anyway, shit talking aside, I have been pulling some cards from this, and, like, child me is like, hell yeah, it's dragons. So I will be keeping this out just because I want to. Alright, what else do we have here? Oh, I'll show you this. Okay, this is the Tarot of Persephone's Garden that I just recently got. I did like a walkthrough or flip through kind of it a couple videos ago, I think. This deck is going to be getting another printing, but it's currently sold out. I think you can pre-order it right now, though. I know this deck creator just recently set up a website, I believe. I will put a link to it, if I can find it, in the description box if you're interested in this deck. I had gotten this deck thinking I might be able to use it to, like, work with the Aphrodite energy. No, it's has not, in my experience, worked that way. It really does have a lot of, Persephone above ground, energy that just isn't really the kind of thing that is just you can't just easily fling that onto somebody else, if that makes sense. I have been using this for daily draws. I'm not really currently working with Persephone that much. Persephone was really actually the first deity that I ever started working with. And it was because in 7th grade, we were doing our good old mythology unit. In the US, that's a thing. And we had to act out a myth. And there's one where Persephone and somebody are fighting over what? A child. And then, like, the blood spilled, fuck, I don't even remember now. The blood spilled, turned into some kind of flower. So we took one of those, like, plastic babies and popped the head off it and stuck fake flowers in there and put the head on. So then when we argued over it, we, like, pulled it apart and then dropped the flowers on the ground. Anyway, I was fucking obsessed with Persephone. Every myth about her, I was, like, checking out books from the library and shit about it. So I do, like, kind of feel Persephone hanging around from time to time, usually spring and fall-ish. It's kind of like she's just passing through to say hi, honestly. Like, it's not really like a steady working kind of relationship with a deity like, you know, sometimes you get, but I do appreciate it. And I fully plan on the times when she is showing up, using this deck for communication and messages and things. I know you might be thinking, like, didn't spring just happen in the Northern Hemisphere? I mean, like, by the dates it did, but where I live, no, it's not, so, yeah. Yeah, I just been flipping through this and talking for a long time. All right. Put this away. All right. Another deck that I've had out for a while now. This is actually the deck that I have been using to communicate. Sorry, there's a fucking cat hair in my mouth. With Persephone. Oh my god. Aphrodite. Yeah. So this might seem kind of like a weird one. I don't know. I completely ignore, like, the keywords. Honestly, my dearest wish is for this deck to come out, like, in a version that is, like, just the picture, you know? Like, I understand that this is the Lucid Dreams Beginner's Tarot, I believe it's called. I appreciate the beginner thing for it, but I feel like I would also like this deck if it didn't have that too. I think maybe there could be, like, I don't know, an intermediate, like, version. I do like that it has our little zodiac sign, or I don't know why there's moons on some of these. Oh, I guess those are also, excuse me, element. And then also, if you're into reading reversals, it has that. This deck has been working really well. I used this deck, I think, last, like, spring and summer, just because at that point I was not quite working with Aphrodite like I am now. Have you guys seen Storybots? That's what this looks like to me. So yeah, this deck has been serving me very well, actually. There is a version, I don't, it might be, like, in pre-order status or something, but there is a version of this deck that has black borders. And some part of me is like, bitch, you gotta buy that. But also, like, it's gonna just be the same deck, so I don't know. Life is hard when people come out with more versions of things that I like. Okay, I'm also using the Lifeline Tarot. This is by Thomas of Hermit's Mirror. This deck, I was actually planning at one point on doing that, a tag that was going around. Everyday Carry Tarot or something like that, by Marlena Teresa. And this was going to be the winner of it. But so much time passed and I just didn't ever get a chance to do that video. And now I kind of feel like everything has been said. Any deck that I would use, I'm sure somebody else has shown. I feel like I agree with everything. You know, people looking for easy readers. One that is a smaller kind of deck. You know, easier replaceability, just shit like that. So yeah, but this was gonna be my winner because I love this deck. So if you haven't seen this deck, the Lifeline Tarot is, it's obviously Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's drawn with just one continuous line. So like you can see this, you know, it does all the swords and comes back down to the person. I think that's so just fucking cool. Like, I love that. I love this deck. And it's actually on like playing card stock. So it's not, I like playing card stock, okay? I really like being able to riffle shuffle decks, right? So I know some people are just really into, you know, some fucking a brick of a deck, but I like to be able to manipulate mine in a way that I can shuffle it without, you know, having to hand over hand the entire time. So, all right. Okay, I got two more here. I am busting out the local honey picture box. This is an Oracle. Oh yeah, Oracle deck and self-love toolkit. This is an indie deck. I think it's still available. I will stick the link to get this deck and also the Lifeline Tarot that I just showed in the description box too. This deck is, I have a whole review of this up. I think I like the artwork in this deck. I like the things that it just talks about, like stop hurting yourself. What was this one? The Trinity. It's very, I mean, you could probably use it for shadow work, but it's not necessarily like coming from that angle. I mean, I guess it kind of is. Uncensor yourself. I don't know. This deck is hard to explain. I'm not going to sit here for like 20 minutes and explain all of it. But I am into this deck. It feels, I didn't do my shadow work, in last fall like I usually do. I was in a place where I was just really not like feeling that at the time. But it's been, you know, slowly following me, waiting for me to give it the attention it deserves. So I guess it's time. Yeah. Put this guy away, and we have one last deck, and then I can finally shut up about this. This is the Fae Tarot by MJ Cullinane. Now, this is an indie, the indie version of it. I don't know if it has already come out or if it is going to come out. I believe Hay House is printing a mass market version of this. I colored these edges. I don't know really what's different about it. I'm kind of interested to see, but also like I can't justify spending that money on a second copy of a deck that I have already. Yeah. So this deck is obviously Fae. It's very much elemental fairy energy. And that's always a thing that starts showing up for me in the spring. So I'm kind of hoping maybe we'll start getting some a little bit warmer weather here coming up in April. And I'll be able to just, you know, bust out this fairy stuff. Something about this deck just feels more relatable as Fae to me and the way that I experience Fae energy, if that makes any sense. Too many of them are kind of Tinkerbell shit, and I mean, I guess some of these kind of look like that, but okay, the guidebook is very much, it's almost written like in a story kind of way, where you're walking through the forest and you come upon fairies and they're doing these things. Like, these fairies are all doing something terrible. Like, they're not, they're not just, you know, sleeping in fucking foxgloves or whatnot. They're out here doing shit. They're very powerful. Somewhere is, I think, the Tower card in here. And that's actually the card, I don't know if we're gonna run into it. The Tower card is the one that made me actually buy this deck, because I was like, you know, I wasn't sure if some of the cards were really like my thing. Okay, look at this. This is fucking stunning. I love this card. Like, if I could get a print of this and put it on my wall, I would do it. But yeah, I wasn't sure if this deck was really, if I was that into this deck, but then I saw that Tower card and I was like, you know what? I think I am that into this deck. So I'm really glad that I have this, and I use this a lot, actually. This probably is going to stay out all through spring and summer. Like, late summer even is a good time for this deck. Yeah. Yeah, I think I've showed this deck actually quite a bit on this channel. Every time I show it, I gotta say this, I colored these edges with like this alcohol marker that I got, and it looked like it was going to be a much lighter purple. And I tried it on like the edge of a different deck, and it did not, I mean, it turned out the color that I thought it was going to be. And then I put it on this one. This cardstock just took it so different. Like, sometimes a deck will have like extra cards, you know what I mean? Like a title card or something you can try it on to see. This one did not. And so I did one, and then it was too fucking late. I mean, you gotta do them all now. So it is darker than I wanted, but sucks to be me, I guess. Okay, so that was all my April shit. Thanks for watching. Bye.